We are about 5 months away from Star Wars returning to the big screen in the highly anticipated The Mandalorian and Grogu film, reuniting two of our favorite characters from the hit Disney Plus show The Mandalorian, but this time in theaters. It has already been over 2.5 years since the show's last episode, and by the time of release, it's been 7 years since Star Wars hit theaters. The pressure is enormous. We've already gotten the first teaser trailer a couple months back, which they titled as the official trailer on YouTube for some reason, and it's garnered almost 10 million views at this point. I personally liked it, but the consensus is that this trailer was pretty safe and doesn't reveal all that much, which honestly is fine by me trailer-wise. However, back earlier last year when this film was first announced, it didn't take long for scoopers and leakers alike to speculate or claim they knew what the film was going to be about. There had been a lot of uncertainty leading up to it and speculation about what caused the move away from the TV series format to the big screen in the first place, but I digress. That's not why we're here today. It had seemed common knowledge by about summertime that people had figured the plot out. In summary, the main theories on the plot were that the bounty hunter Embo from the Clone Wars would serve as the main villain of the film, and this was reported all the way back in January from a very reliable and proven source in that Christian Harloff, and the spark notes of the film was that Rada the Hutt had been captured, and Din Djarin and Grogu were going to be hired to save him, while on the flip side, Embo had been hired to kill Rada the Hutt. Sound familiar, doesn't it? Well, fast forward 3/4 of the way through the year, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer drops, and what do you know, they include Rada the Hutt in the trailer, so obviously there is at least some validity to the synopsis of the plot that leaked earlier this year, but what if I told you this might not be the full story? This movie might not be the safe and basic plotline we were all expecting. Here's where things get interesting. Just a couple of days ago, a new source of info came out. Mandoverse Updates discovered on a German Blu-ray website that happened to list the synopsis of the plot on the pre-order listing for the movie. How did this happen? In any case, the plot description reads as follows. The Empire has been defeated and the remnants of its force scattered to the far corners of the galaxy, yet some of their former commanders of this dark era cling to their power and have become dangerous warlords. Din Djarin, together with his apprentice Grogu, track down and neutralize these cells. Several clues lead them to Karzun, where they not only managed to infiltrate an almost forgotten Imperial facility, but Grogu also discovers an ancient artifact that functions as an amplifier of his ability. Wow, okay. That sounds a heck of a lot more interesting than a repeat of one of the worst Star Wars movies to date. Let's break some of this down. The mention of the Empire and Imperial remnants, along with the mention of former commanders, certainly points us towards other members of the Shadow Council. Of course, there were more members of the Shadow Council than just Moff Gideon. Thrawn, of course. It's more likely it ends up being somebody like Gilad Pellaeon, is who I would guess, which would make sense to me as the true main villain in a film like this, as it would allow for them to tease and introduce Thrawn as the greater threat later to come. I mean, obviously, the background is there from Legends, them having such a history together, and yeah, I really don't think Thrawn will be a focus in this movie, but you gotta mention and tease him at this point. I mean, he is back in the main galaxy now with the conclusion of Ahsoka Season 2, so, I mean, he's there. So he's going to be a main part of the current Mandoverse Star Wars story. That's just not what this film is going to be, though. And the next part, though, that I find more interesting is that part where they say several clues lead them to the Karzun, and they discover ancient artifacts there, one that might amplify Grogu's force powers. Now we're talking. It's a good tie-in to this era. I mean, in Legends, and I mean, I guess in canon too, where Luke Skywalker, which was shown in the Battlefront 2 campaign even, he would search the galaxy for ancient artifacts as he came across Imperial remnants as well. Just a very interesting time frame. And the name Karzun feels almost Sith-like in nature to me, and that artifact that enhances force powers can almost certainly be dark side. Like, a light side force object isn't gonna enhance and amplify force powers like that. It's got to be dark side. And now that Grogu has chosen a different path and turned his back on Luke, what if he's gonna get tested? Like, will he be tested on his dark side tendencies that clearly have been teased in various parts of The Mandalorian? I think this is going to be a big part of the movie. Grogu battling with this artifact in himself was potentially resisting the dark side or embracing it. As I said, he did show some of those tendencies. I mean, think of the frog children. And obviously his training was left incomplete when he left Luke Skywalker and chose to return with the Mandalorian, which is still a questionable decision that Lucasfilm made, but it's not why we're here. But what do you guys think? Do you think Grogu could resist the dark side if that's going to be part of the story? Let me know in the comments. Now, this deeper lore and sense of exploration could be a perfect mix of what we love from the early Mandalorian, with Grogu and Mando going on adventures, working together, kind of just exploring the galaxy, and we'd be brought to new planets that we've never seen before, or some that we have, but exploring new areas, and just a great element that we liked about the show, so I'm all for it. But it could even be better if they can lean into some of more of this heavy lore stuff, like discovering ancient Sith artifacts, perhaps even some subtle references to the Old Republic. Karzoon, I looked into it. There hasn't been much mention of what it is, but it does, again, sound Sith-like to me, so the possibilities are there, and I am all for it. Now, obviously, there are still a lot more questions to be had, and obviously Rod the Hutt is going to play a part in the movie because he was in the trailer, so it's tough to know how much of this synopsis we can take into account, and likely the bounty hunter Embo 2 will be in it, but perhaps some of the archives are incomplete, and this movie is not going to be exactly what everyone was expecting. Hopefully this video got you guys a bit more excited for the movie, but at the same time, I hope I didn't get your hopes up too high. Usually when us fans speculate too hard on Star Wars projects, we get let down. I'm just hoping for a good time and a good movie with Star Wars returning to theaters. Finally, it's been too long. It doesn't need to blow me away personally for it to be a success. It just needs to be a good time, but they certainly should be aiming to blow us away, and these kind of plot points would certainly push us in the right direction. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, have a happy holidays.